Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you got a chance to watch the video from Monday and I hope that you enjoyed it. It was a very short yoga gentle stretching and breath sequence, and it's a really nice sequence to start the day with. So I hope that you got a chance to do it. And also, thank you for those of you that sent me an email to let me know about your background and about your history with yoga or stretching or just different hobbies that you're into. It sounds like we have a lot of people that are interested in neck and shoulders stretching, which is always something that I love, and it's so good for us. So keep up with that. And if you haven't emailed me, it's not too late. Shoot me an email. It can be super short, even just a sentence or two, um, giving me a little bit of information about yourself in terms of the hobbies that you like, or if you've done yoga before, that kind of stuff. And just a couple more admin things. So I hope that you also had a chance to learn a little bit about bullet journaling, about this technique. For me, I'm not super artsy craftsy, so I didn't do as much of the like block letters or she makes it so beautifully, which I hope some of you did. But for me, I like the technique because it lists these really nice categories like the check-in, the brain dump, the month at a glance, the week at a glance, the habit tracker. These are all really great things to just be thinking about. And there is something about writing it down that makes you think about it, that makes you commit to a goal in a different way than just having it in the back of your head. So I hope that you at least had 5 or 10 minutes to journal or write a little bit about some goals for the month ahead, maybe a habit that you're working on, even if it's something like drinking more water, or for me, I'm working on cooking for myself because I get so lazy sometimes. So, yeah, we're all working on different things. Um, so, I hope you got to spend some time with that bullet journal. And honestly, it's okay if you start really simple. So, maybe you didn't do the full month at a glance, but you just looked at your week and jotted down a couple ideas of brain dump or of what you're thinking about the check-in for this week. So really, whatever you've done is great, and we'll just keep on working a little bit at a little bit to work on journaling and work on writing down our intentions and our ideas. Uh, yeah, I think that's all of the admin. So today for our class, I just have another short sequence planned for us as we start to learn some of the names of the poses. And again, if you are just sitting here in your living room, that is awesome, or in your bedroom. If you have a mat or a towel, great. If not, that's okay too. And this is just about kind of checking in with yourself for today and learning a couple new poses. So yeah, let's get started. Let's start again in a seated position. And if you can, start to sit up nice and tall. And so maybe that means that you move a little bit as you find this alignment of the shoulders stacking above the hips. I don't know about you guys, but it has felt a little stressful and a little heavy with everything that's going on in the world right now. It can be a little bit overwhelming. So see if you can just take a couple moments here as you find this tall seated position, and take a couple moments of silence. Just allow yourself to arrive at this present moment. And a lot of times we really are multitasking with our phones and the computers and the TV and all of these different things we're working on. But imagine this as a little gift, like a little present for yourself, just to have nothing you have to do other than sit right here for a couple breaths. And just notice how you're feeling today. Maybe you're just waking up, you're a little bit sleepy, or maybe like me, you're feeling a little bit anxious or a little bit worried. And then after you have started to check in with yourself, to ask yourself, how are you doing today? Start to pay attention to the sensations of the body, all the way from the toes to the fingertips. How does everything feel today? Maybe you notice like any soreness, or if you've been doing sports, maybe you feel muscle soreness, but maybe you also feel stress in the body. People feel it in different ways. Maybe you feel stress in your belly or in your chest. Sometimes we feel stress in our head, like a headache. So really check in with yourself and just notice how all of these parts of the body feel. Maybe you're feeling super energetic and super light. That's great too. And then keep the eyes closed, keep the shoulders down the back, and we'll start with some really gentle neck circles. Bring one ear to one shoulder, and then the chin to the chest, and then the opposite ear to the shoulder. And just start to breathe deeply and move really slowly. You can stop at any sticky spots in the shoulders or the neck as you move. Good, let's take one more breath as we move through these little mini neck circles. And then big inhale to center and open the eyes. Hey, I'm glad you're here. Okay, let's continue. So come forward onto hands and knees. This is our tabletop pose. And the shoulders will stack above the wrists and the hips above the knees. So you're really almost like a rectangle here. And then I just want you to start moving gently into the spine through cat-cow pose. So for cow pose, inhale, the heart comes forward and you're really letting the belly sink. And take a big breath in. Imagine you're opening the collarbones as you look forward. And then on the exhale, cat pose, bring the chin to the chest and imagine there's this string at your heart pulling upwards. So you're really rounding. Big inhale, cow pose. So start to move with the breath. Connect cat to cow. Exhale, round. Inhale, heart forward. Let's do this 3 more times with the breath and really feel that your body gets a little deeper into the pose each time you return here. Big inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. And for this cat pose, feel the space between the shoulders opens. One more time. Inhale, heart forward. And exhale, round. Awesome. And then bring the toes together to touch and the knees a little bit wider than the hips. And sink the hips down for a child's pose. In this child's pose, we will have the forehead down on the floor. This is kind of like a home base or a rest pose. And you can always find some movement by bringing the forehead from side to side, like you're almost giving yourself a massage here on the forehead. And then we'll stay with the hips reaching back towards the feet, but start to press into the fingertips. And I always like to imagine like I'm grabbing for cupcakes here, and you don't want to squish the frosting. So you're pressing into the fingertips. And then I think about cupcakes, and then I get really hungry, but that's okay. Big breath in. Deep breath in, press into the fingers, and grow the spine. See if the hips can come a little lower towards the feet. Good, one more big breath. Press into the fingertips. Press hips down towards the feet. Awesome, and then walk the hands forward. Good. Okay, we're coming into downward facing dog, this pose that we practiced on Monday. And start with this push-up position, this high plank. Again, shoulders are stacked above the wrists. And this is just a nice way. So, when we talk about alignment in terms of how things look, it's just a nice way to protect the joints. So, this stacking shoulders above the wrist helps to protect the shoulder and the shoulder girdle and the wrists. Take another moment here. Feel the belly pull in. Take a big breath. And then on the exhale, lift the hips, downward facing dog, first one of the day. Whew, and this pose can be a doozy. You can always bend the knees. Bend one leg, then the other. And it's so important to keep the breath moving. So it's really easy to lose the breath. But the breath kind of tells our bodies that everything is okay. And the breath helps us move deeper into these really tight areas. One more big breath here. Good. And then bring the left foot a little bit in towards the center line and inhale the right foot high. And sometimes we tend to really lift the left heel, but try to relax the heel down so you feel this nice stretch through the back of the left leg. Take a big breath here. Keep reaching the right foot high. Imagine you're pointing the pinky toe down. Good. And then set that foot down about at the center and inhale the left foot high. Whew, this can be a doozy, so just take it as you need. Keep the breath moving. Settle the right heel down. And keep pressing back through the left foot. Imagine you're pointing the pinky toe down. So sometimes we tend to open the hips, but I want you to keep them straight. One more big inhale. And exhale, downward facing dog. And pause here for another moment. Imagine you're reaching the hips high to the sky. Grow the spine. Then exhale, soften the feet. Good. Again, inhale the right foot high and step the foot through with an exhale. And if the foot doesn't quite get to the hands, that's okay, but we will just walk this foot towards the top of the mat. This is called a low lunge, but for today, we'll actually come down to the back knee. So you can always stay here. And if this is intense, you can kind of come to the fists if you need, if it's a lot for the hands. Maybe you stay here in the fingers, or maybe you start to bring the hands to the top of the right thigh. And of course, you can pause me. If this is uncomfortable for the back knee, you can always use like a blanket or a towel under this knee for more support. Good. And sometimes if you're really flexible or really open in the hips, it's easy to kind of sink and get really loosey-goosey here. But I want you to pull the belly in. And again, you're envisioning that the shoulders are stacked above the hips and you're slightly tucking the tailbone forward. So you're slightly tucking the pelvis forward. And that helps keep a lot of stability and strength in the belly. Like you're knitting together the rib cage, the belly pulls in. And if everything still feels good, start to reach the hands high. So this is called a crescent moon pose. And again, check in here. If the shoulders are tight, it's really easy for them to start to creep up towards the ears. And I want you to just pull the shoulders down the back. And you can really imagine that you're activating all of these long muscles of the spine to pull the shoulders down with energy. Good. You can stay right here, or if you're feeling a little bit crazy, start to reach the left hand back for the top of the left foot. And maybe it doesn't quite reach it, that's okay. If you're reaching for the foot and you can grab it, you'll start to lift up to the sky. And I want you to imagine that you're not right on the knee joint, but you're on the muscle just above the joint. So there shouldn't be any discomfort in the knee. It should just feel like this nice stretch. And again, settle the shoulders down. Pull the heart forward and imagine lifting up. Take 3 breaths. This is actually kind of a balance pose too, so maybe you're wobbling around. That is okay. Just come back to the breath and keep trying. Good. One more big inhale. And exhale. Bring the hands down to the top of the mat. And then we'll move into a half splits. And for this pose, you'll just start to pull the hips backwards. And if you're really tight through the back of the leg, maybe the hips don't come that far, and that's really fine. If everything feels good, you can even start to pull these toes and flex them back towards the face. Whew, this is a doozy today. Send the breath behind the right knee. And try to let the head and shoulders relax. So a lot of times we're really straining always the neck. The head is actually super heavy. See if you can let the weight of the head just hang. Good, one more breath. Keep pulling the hips backwards. Pull the toes towards the face. Awesome job. Walk the hands back to the top of the mat and then step back, downward facing dog. This is really nice. I like to bend one knee then the other. So we've done the right side and not the left side. So just feel the difference between those two legs. Take a big breath in. Deep exhale. Awesome. Inhale the left foot high. And exhale, low lunge. And remember, if the foot doesn't quite reach the hand, that's okay. We can use the hand and just tiptoe the foot forward so the foot's just about under the heart or so. The right knee comes down. You can always use a towel or blanket under the knee for more support. If this already feels like a lot, you can stay right here with fingers or fists down, or maybe you're feeling good, you bring the hands to the top of the thigh. And again, remember, if the hips are really open, you feel yourself being able to get really down and open in the hips. That's fine, but for today, we'll actually come out a little so that you feel the hips are tucking forward and the shoulders are above the hips and the low back is nice and flat. You can even put your hand here to feel that you're not sticking the booty out. You're really pulling the hips under you. And maybe the hands extend in this crescent moon pose. And grow the neck long, the shoulders are down the back. Good, one more breath here. Imagine that you are knitting together the muscles of the abdominals. The belly pulls in. And you can stay right here. This is a great option if you want to challenge a little. The right hand reaches back for the top of the right foot. And maybe you're just reaching and you stay right here. This is a great variation. Or maybe the hand actually captures the foot and you're pulling the heart forward, lifting everything up. And again, really, there should be no pain in this right knee. You're on the muscle above the joint. And you're pulling everything to the center line and lifting up to the sky. Let's take 3 breaths. This is a little bit of balance, so keep hugging everything to center. Keep tucking the hips forward. So we're not really collapsing into the low back. We're pulling the hips under the shoulders. Let's take one more big breath in. And then slowly release. And both hands to the mat. Great work. Half split. Start to walk the hands backwards. So if the back of the leg is really tight, maybe you are taking some variation with the foot down and you're just starting to pull the hips back. I already feel this in the hamstring. Or maybe you're open in the back of the leg and you're really able to start to straighten this leg and pull the toes back towards the face. So you're flexing this foot. And let the head hang. You can shake the head yes, you can shake the head no. Let's take one more breath. Try to actively relax the space behind the knee. And walk the hands forward, downward facing dog. And now we've done both right and left side. Take a moment to come back to this pose. How has it changed since we started? Inhale the right foot high and lead with the knee. We'll move into a pose called half pigeon. And this is many people's favorite pose. I also love this pose. Actually, I'll turn to face you. So in this half pigeon, this is a really nice stretch for the hips and the piriformis muscle of the right hip. This right knee is forward. So start with the right foot just about at the left hip. And sometimes in this pose, people kind of fall off the train and they're kind of sitting to the side. I want you to be facing forward so the hips and the heart are facing in the same direction. And if this is really a lot for the hip, you can stay right here. This is already such a nice stretch. And if there's a little more room, you can even start to relax forward. And in this pose, it's so important that the knee doesn't hurt or there's no pain there, because that means that the knee is kind of absorbing the stretch instead of the hip. And we don't want that. We really want this pose to be about the hips. This is also a really nice pose because we often hold a lot of stress here in the hips, a lot of tension. And also if we sit a lot during the day, this can just be such a tight area. So start to send your breath into this right hip. And we will just be here for 2 more honest breaths. And really be focused on the breath here. With each exhale, feel a little bit heavier, like you're letting go of something. Awesome. And then start to press into the hands. And to release this pose, we will lift the right foot high and then just shake out this leg. This is a 3-legged down dog. So imagine you're letting all of this fresh blood move back into the hip and into the leg. Maybe even make some really big circles in both directions. Awesome. Inhale the left foot high. And lead with a knee half pigeon on the side. So we'll start with the setup before we get too deep into the pose. The left foot is close to the right hip. And if you kind of fall off the wagon here, that's okay, but get back on. And the hips are facing forward, and the shoulders are facing forward. If you were to peek back at the right foot, sometimes this foot starts to do kind of like wonky things, but the toes should be pointing directly back in the direction of the knee, in the direction of the hip. So it's a straight line here. And you can always stay right here with the fingers or fists down. Or maybe there's a little more space and you're able to relax forward onto the forearms. And again, there's no pain in this left knee, just big stretch in the left hip, the left piriformis. Take 3 of the deepest breaths yet. Big inhales. Deep exhale. One more big full breath here. See if on the exhale you can let go of something that you no longer need. Some tension, some stress from the body. And then come back to the hands if you're not already there. Inhale, lift the left foot high. 3-legged down dog, and then shake out this left leg. Big circles. And one final downward facing dog. And bring the knees down. Come to the tops of the feet. Bring the forehead down and the hands back towards the feet. And on your next inhale, press back up to a comfortable seated position. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for joining me today. As always, I'm super happy to hear your comments or feedback or any kind of questions you have. That was a good amount of new poses probably for a lot of you, so I hope that it feels good. And yeah, I'm excited to hear your thoughts about all of this. We will have an optional class on Friday, and it will be a little bit more of this. And then I will be on Monday with more standing postures. So we'll just do a little bit at a time. I hope you take a moment to check in with yourself today, either after this yoga or maybe while you're doing some journaling. Just see how you're feeling, do some introspection, write some ideas down, some goals, and yeah, I look forward to hearing from you guys. Okay, have a great day. Take care.